Episode 46, Ruler of the Walls. The massive abnormal titan continues to move towards Orvud district, crawling mindlessly across the fields. The garrison squad asks Erwin why he's not ordering an evacuation, so Hange explains that abnormals are naturally drawn to large concentrations of people. If they evacuate the Orvud townsfolk into Walsina, the titan will follow as well. They attempted to use Iren's power against the titan earlier, but it proved ineffective. As it stands, they have to use the Orvud population as bait to defeat the titan. The garrison will have to conduct an evacuation drill, which should prepare the people to move once the plan fails. One thing that gives them an edge is that the titan is an easy target. They have to throw every artillery and scout at it in hopes of defeating it. The garrison starts their drills, but the citizens are uneasy after the fake king was overthrown. Suddenly, they see smoke in the distance, and the garrison starts their barrage of cannon fire. The titan stops after the first volley, but only for a little while. The problem is that the northern troops aren't as experienced in battle and can hardly penetrate the nape. Levi complains to Erwin that their plan for the scouts falls into another gamble. Hange presents her new invention, which uses barrels of gunpowder mounted on propulsion, just like the ODM gear. Erwin commands Jean, Sasha, and Connie on one side while the rest prepare the nets and gunpowder. Erwin talks to Historia about her presence on the front lines and how it will affect her coming reign. She stands up to Erwin and tells him what she thinks. Eren watches his friend and sees how she's grown after all she has been through. He then thinks about all his failures and wonders if he's up to the task to save humanity. He looks down and sees a couple of kids below, remembering where they were during the first Titan attack. Armin points out that there's something different now. They're there on top of the wall to defend the citizens. Mikase tells him to stop overthinking and start working, so he starts punching himself to drive his self-pity away. The garrison throws another volley of fire, but it proves ineffective. The Titan retaliates with a steam surge. The Titan grabs the wall and faces everyone, letting its organs burn down the walls. The citizens retreat along with the panicking garrison troops. Levi and the scouts then take over. Erwin thanks Armin for his encouragement and transforms in preparation for the fight. Erwin signals their attack and shoot the Titan's hands with the gunpowder to break its hold. He then calls for Eren to move as the Titan's head falls into the wall. Eren runs through, carrying a sack of gunpowder in his back. Erwin predicted that the Titan's face would be open after it crawled through the ground, so Eren has an opening to shoot their payload inside. After the ensuing explosion, the rest of the scouts then destroy the flying debris of organs before they fall to the ground. Historia fights alongside them after arguing with Erwin about her duty. She finds her father's nape and cuts it, causing some of Rod's memories to spill into her as she drops into a cushioned wagon. The citizens below witness her deed, and she stands up to declare herself as Historia Rice, the true ruler of the walls. Back at the chapel, Kenny returns to a nearby tree to rest from his fatal wounds. Levi arrives to arrest him but finds that it isn't necessary. Kenny hands him a kit with the Titan serum. Episode 47, Friends. In a flashback, Kenny finds himself battling against a man with Titan powers inside the wall. He is Yuri, Lord Rice's brother. Uri manages to catch Kenny with the Titan's hand. This is the first time Kenny was bested. Rod threatens to kill him, but Uri wants to know who sent him. Uri recognizes him as an Ackerman descendant with a latent drive to fight. Uri lets go of Kenny and drops down from his Titan form while Kenny points a pistol at him. Instead of fighting, Uri kneels and apologizes to him for how the Ackermans have been persecuted in their name. The gesture shook Kenny to the bone, making him want to work for him. After that, Kenny was given a seat at the governing council which led the prosecution of the Ackermans to stop. One day, Kenny sought out his dying sister, Kukul, who works for a brothel in the underground. There, he meets his nephew who turns out to be Levi. Kenny is forced to care for Levi, but he can't act as a father. He taught him how to use a knife so he could survive underground. He left Levi to decide on what he must do from then on out. Stannis asks Kenny why he abided by the king after what happened, and he responds that Yuri is the strongest. He believes power is all that you need to get to the top. This is what gave Levi after he lost his mother. Before his death, Yuri tells Kenny about his powers being passed down to Rod's children. Yuri foresees that this world will crumble soon, but wonders how they became friends after their fight. Kenny waves it off as a coincidence, but for Yuri, it was a miracle. After Uri's death, Kenny saw the same look in Frida's eyes as she inherited the power. Soon, Kenny becomes the captain of the anti-personnel squad. He shares with his personnel a vision of paradise where they can be greater than gods, but it all failed them last night. He wonders if Yuri foresaw what had happened the previous day. Now he faces Levi in his final moments. Kenny shows Levi a serum he swiped from Rod's back, saying he could still live if he used it. He lives for a while as a dumb titan, but Levi notes he hasn't done anything yet. Kenny reveals he wanted power all his life, but now sees Uri's example of how power isn't everything. He concludes that everyone is drunk on something to survive, even Uri. Levi grabs him and asks about the secrets of the Titans, but all he can say was that the Ackermans were opposed to it. Kenny reveals that he is his uncle, and he left him that day because he can't be his father. He hands Levi the serum before dying under the shade of trees. Historia's coronation commences in the town square, with everyone learning that she was the one who felled the Titan at Orvud. Landing the final blow was her idea, but Erwin didn't think it would come true. The 104th cadets walk alongside Historia as she tries to do her first bold act as queen to punch Levi in the shoulder. The captain laughs and thanks them all for what they've accomplished. Elsewhere, the Armored Titan and Bertholdt get defeated by the Beast Titan. He vetoes their plan to save Annie first and decides the first order of business is to take the coordinate.